Week 3 of the NFL season is on the docket, and Flutie versus Stegall is underway. The Hall of Famers, Doug Flutie, Milt Stegall. What a week in the NFL, fellas. Let's just get right to it, because it's amazing how the league has gone out of its way to protect quarterbacks with every single rule imaginable. I mean, you can't breathe on them. You can't have a feather touch them. And the next thing you know, Joe Burrow's out for at least 3 months. It could be the season. We're understanding Jaden Daniels may miss this week. And now J.J. McCarthy with an ankle issue on a hip drop tackle that was supposed to be outlawed. Justin Fields with a concussion. Already Brock Purdy, he's going to miss probably a month or so. I mean, it is ruthless out there. Doug, it is just amazing how the fortunes of a franchise can change just like that.
Oh, in a heartbeat. When you have a franchise quarterback go down and, for an extended period of time, and Joe Burrow's maybe a long extended period, it just changes the whole complexion. Jake Browning stepped off the bench and played hot and cold, all that. You have these backup quarterbacks that are going to get in there. The bottom line is it's football. You can't protect people. You got to play all out. And in this day and age, in this game, and I was talking about with Tua last week, you want your quarterback running for first downs. The RPO game, the quarterback runs, that's all part of it now. The way that the field's getting small, in my mind, the field's getting smaller because the players are getting bigger, faster, stronger. There's less space. You're going to have these hits. It's going to happen. And you do the best you can to protect yourself, get down, but you still, at the end of the day, and we saw last night quarterbacks, we saw it last week, with Patrick Mahomes. Quarterbacks put their shoulder down because they have to get a first down in a crucial situation and take the hit. It's part of the game.
Oh, okay. This is a question for you, Doug. Do you think, and I know there's some players like Burrow or other guys who can't fight through their injuries. Do you think some of these guys are a little softer than back in the day, and they're not just fighting through these injuries, or they want to be 100% healthy, which is impossible? Do you think that's the case? I don't know that they're softer. I think they have people around them protecting them more now. The NFL is afraid of lawsuits, concussion protocol stuff, all that. So they err on the side of caution when it comes to injuries. Guys want to be 100%. It is early in the season, so you don't want to be limping around on your turf toe all year long. But if this were playoffs, you line up and you play. I was of the school of thought, and maybe it was because I had that chip on my shoulder and I was always trying to prove myself, was that if I can walk, I'm playing, because I know the guy behind me is talented and I'll be sitting on the bench in 2 weeks. Yeah, well, okay. I think one quick other point. I think of a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who's been the most successful quarterback basically over the last decade. And if I'm correct, I think he's missed 2 games because of injury, but we've seen him have high ankle sprains. We've seen him with shoulders and possibly concussions, but still step on the field. So I'm wondering if it's just these guys, and I know you don't want to say, are just softer than guys back in the day. I'll leave it at that.
Tom Brady played just about every week. And the year I spent with him, he had 2 or 3 different injuries going on that whole year long, and went out and played like Tom Brady. It's what you do. And with high ankle sprains never go away. He'll be playing basketball 5 years from now and cut on and go, damn, that's that high ankle sprain still there. It's something that a quarterback, I believe, can play with. A wide receiver, running back, you've got to let that thing come around.
I also wonder how much it's changed because of the money. Doug, 40 years ago, when you came out of Boston College, you roll into Chicago. What's the going rate for a starting quarterback then? Milt, what's Joe Burrow's guaranteed? 275. His ownership saying, hold on. We are not going to throw $200 million away to risk this thing becoming catastrophic. How much does that weigh into this equation?
275. Yeah, I was making a $125, 125,000. All right. When I first went to Chicago. No, starting quarterbacks were in the million range back then, or close to it.
Now it's 50, 60.
It is crazy. The amount of money on the line, and guaranteed more, because it's all signing bonus stuff now, more guaranteed money. Go ahead, Milt.
Well, I look at it from a fan's perspective. If I know my quarterback who's making $50 million a year, yes, he's not healthy, but he's healthy enough to be on the field, and you decide not to play him because you want to get him as healthy as possible. As a fan, I'm not going to support that. I'm not going to keep buying season tickets if the best product is not on the field, if he's able to be on the field. Now, I know there are some cases, maybe Joe Burrow, he really can't be on the field. He has to get surgery on his toe. But if you have a slightly high ankle sprain, or your knee is begging or lagging you, or whatever it may be, I expect you to be on the field if I'm spending my hard-earned money. That's where I'm coming from as fans' perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the Minnesota-Cincinnati game this week. We thought it was going to be Burrow against McCarthy. Instead, it's Browning against Wentz, who gets the starting job 22 days after being on the couch. He wasn't even around training camp in Minnesota.
He's healthy.
He's healthy. He can go.
He's on the couch, so he's healthy. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is what I wonder. So, Milt, you come at it from a fan's perspective. Let's talk about it from a locker room perspective, because I hear next man up all the time. And I'm like, okay, but hold on. There is not a job, a role in corporate America where there is more of a demand for a certain role than there is quarterback in professional football. You know, there's 96 jobs plus practice roster out there, and there's probably 15 who perform at an elite level.
Right.
And we're being friendly there.
Right.
So as a player, when you see your guy go down and this whole next man up thing, what happens in a locker room? What happens in the meeting rooms? What happens on the practice field to immediately get the next man up ready to rock, because the show goes on whether or not the franchise quarterback is there or not?
Well, I'll start it off. As a player, you start panicking. Let's be honest. You start panicking when you lose your number one guy. But then you have to go back into the mode where, okay, they have this backup here for a reason. We have to still go out there and get it done. It's not an easy transition, especially when you lose a guy of Joe Burrow's caliber. And in my opinion, he's the most important player in the NFL to his team. And I say that because they've invested so much in that offense where their defense is pretty bad. They were basically counting on him to outscore the opposing team because they knew their defense was going to give up a bunch of points. So now you lose Joe Burrow, and I don't care who the backup is. You can't replace him. So as a player now, Jamar Chase and Higgins, those guys are saying, like, what have we gotten ourselves into? You can't say that publicly, but I guarantee you they're thinking that because this was supposed to be their year, and now they're in panic mode. But you have to put your mindset back into the mode of this backup is here for a reason. Let's go out here and see what we can do. It's not an easy transition, but that's the mindset you have to have.
Doug, you've been in that situation where they tap you on the shoulder and they're like, hey, 7, go. What happens there?
I loved it. Obviously, I honestly thought it was easier to come off the bench in the middle of a game because there was no expectation. It was starter went down. You're out there just letting it fly. You're going out and saying, let's go. When you have all week to think about it as a backup, now you're in that starter mode. They have time to get nervous. See, a lot of people look at it as you have a week to prep, right? And you start working with your receivers and all that. Well, the defense knows you're the guy now. So when they're game planning now, they're game planning towards you. They weren't doing that when you came off the bench in the middle of a game. I do agree. During the offseason, you're working with the number ones. The number ones have this rhythm down. You're throwing back shoulder throws and fades and this and that. You've all got a relationship. And then all of a sudden, the guy that hasn't been getting any reps is on the field. It's different. As Milt was saying, it is different. All the guys try the best they can to pull together, to be there for you. That we're talking about CD Lamb and the drop balls. You know, that can't happen with your backup, right? All of a sudden, you know, you're only going to have a few opportunities. It may not be as dynamic. We got to protect the ball a little more, all these little things. I will say this, and going down the list, the guys that are backups that are going to play, they're all veteran guys that have shown they can play at one time or another. Marcus Mariota got a chance a couple games last year. His numbers look great from that. So there's guys that are veteran guys that are stepping in. They're healthy. They're not banged up yet, and they're going to have their best opportunity. But it's not like having the starter on the field.
It's Flutie versus Stegall. It is powered by BODOG. We are getting set for week 3 in the NFL, and Milt Stegall is shaking his head. What's up?
I'm always shaking my head.
Well, you know who else was Trevor Lawrence on Sunday? And I find this interesting. Okay, so here you have Lawrence, comes in, number 1 pick, face the franchise, the one who's supposed to turn the fortunes in Jacksonville. And what happens after year 1? There's a coaching change, and a couple more years with Doug Peterson, things don't work out. And now he's got Liam Cohen, a first-time NFL head coach again, and Cohen and Lawrence kind of getting into it from the sideline to the field, and Cohen tried to address it afterwards. It just doesn't pass the smell test. Doug, what's happening there between the quarterback and the coach?
Well, that's the heat of the battle situation. And some of the, there's heat of the battle conversations that go on between receivers and quarterbacks. So not as much as it used to, because now the microphones and the cameras are everywhere. I mean, we would get into it on the sideline when the cameras weren't always there, and over depth of route of, hey man, I've been open all day. Throw me to them. Just put one up. Give me a chance. All that kind of stuff goes on. So whatever it looked to me like a situation where he must have had a specific play call for a specific situation. Trevor didn't like it, came off it, threw something different, or didn't make a throw, and he's frustrated with him. In a player's mind, that's there, gone, and out 5 seconds later.
The problem with that situation is, and I like to say there are levels. There's only so many players who can do what Trevor Lawrence did. If a backup receiver or a backup DB did that, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same reaction from the coach. I go back to my first meeting in 1992, going way back with the Cincinnati Bengals. And I remember Shula, this is his first year coaching with the Bengals, and he stands up and he says, offense, we're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And the great Boomer Esiason, who's older than Shula, stands up and said, no, you just got here. We're going to do it this way. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? This is what we're doing? But there's only so many people who can do what Trevor Lawrence did and have the same reaction from the coach. So you got to understand there's levels. But the problem with that is, say if another guy sees that and tries to do the same thing, there's going to be a problem there. So as a coach, especially a first-year coach, maybe you have to put your foot down. And if you put your foot down to Trevor Lawrence and other guys see that, they won't try to try you like Trevor Lawrence did. So there's a problem with that because Trevor Lawrence hasn't established himself yet. He hadn't done anything yet. So why is he in the position to do that? So until you can done something in your career, you win some playoff games or take your teams to the playoff, I don't think you should be in a position to do that. That's just my opinion.
What's the story Randy Moss always tells about Belichick and Brady there in New England, Doug? That Randy shows up, after the first week or two, practice doesn't go well. The next day in the meeting, Belichick just rips into Brady. And Moss kind of looks around. He's like, man, if that's the way he's talking to Tommy Boy, I better make sure that my bleep is all set, right?
Yeah, Bill did that. Bill held everyone accountable. There's no doubt. You came in that Wednesday meeting, you better have gone through your game plan, because Wednesday morning he would quiz guys, and Brady wasn't off limits. Man, it didn't matter who you were on that team, you got called out. And you're right, Milt. Young coaches may not have that clout with certain veteran players. Sometimes there's a player that's been around a while, like a Boomer Esiason, and a younger coach coming in. But the veteran coaches don't take that from anyone.
It's Flutie versus Stegall. It is powered by BODOG. Let's get into the picks of the week with Doug and Milt. Biggest point spread of week 3 in the National Football League. Thursday night, short work week. Buffalo is home to Miami. It's a double-digit spread. Milt, let's start with you. You think Tua and company can keep this relatively close?
Yes. I mean, we're still talking about professional football. And the fact that there's a 12.5 point spread, that is so disrespectful. No, the Miami Dolphins won't win the game, but they'll keep it under 12.5 points. There's no way they'll get beat by more than that for a couple of reasons. Number one is, as I mentioned, this is professional football. Number two is They're going to Buffalo, but it's not going to be below 46 degrees. It's actually going to be 70 degrees. And we know how it is when it's cold for those Miami Dolphins. But the fact it's going to be a nice day, 70 degrees, Tour and Tyreek Hill and Waddle and those guys, they'll score some points. So they'll cover that spread.
Flutie says, I'm not hearing any of that because he heard Mike McDaniel's philosopher quote the other day. To win games, you have to win the game, not lose the game. Thanks, Mike.
And you see what hat he has on, too, and he has it turned backwards so we can all see it. You see it.
Yeah. So you like the Bills?
I'm a Bills guy. I'm a Josh Allen guy. Buffalo playing at home will not come out flat, play their tail off. Like Milt said, the point spread of 12 points. And a lot of gamblers don't realize this. You play to win a game. You don't play to beat the point spread. If it calls for taking a safety at the end of the game, you take the safety and let the clock run out. You don't kick the field goal because you don't want to risk it getting blocked and run back the other way. So many gamblers that I've been around they needed to go for 2. They did that on purpose. They knew the point spread. The players, I got to watch myself now because players today do know this generation has grown up with online gambling.
Yes.
And been exposed to it so much more than our generation. I will say in our generation, we had no idea what the point spread was going into a game. But still, it's in Buffalo. Buffalo is flying high. I see it as they take control and win big.
Doug, I don't want to tell tales out of school because we agreed that we're not going to share text messages publicly. But I really appreciated on Sunday morning before kickoff. You're like, man, I'm feeling good about this. I made my picks. I got something riding on this. You go 3-0 last week. Stegall goes 2-1.
I never, honestly, I watch football, but I have not been vested in anything. I always sat back and just and I'd always watch situational football. Oh, the 2-minute drive. Okay, this is great. Oh, they need 2 scores with 4 minutes to go. What do they do? All that situational stuff. That's when I actually enjoy watching games. And all of a sudden, you put your neck on the line with picks.
Things change.
I'm watching the game. I'm like all in. It was fun. It was a fun day of watching ball games.
So we take locks. Stegall's taken Miami plus the points. Doug likes Buffalo to cover. Let's get to the pick'em. Denver at the Chargers, divisional game. Justin Herbert looked really good. Bo Nix bounced back. Milt, you like the Chargers. We'll get to that in just a sec.
Mm-hmm.
Doug, your pick'em is Colts over the Titans. Has Daniel Jones now turned Indianapolis into kind of must-watch TV? Like, of all the stats in the NFL through 2 weeks, Indianapolis has not punted the football once.
People always look at you like Milt's in great shape, right? They walk up to guys and say, hey, you look like you could still play. I could now. I could sign as the punter for the Colts for the first 2 weeks. I could have signed as the punter for the Colts for 2 weeks. If I needed to go home for field goal, I could do that. Pick me up and walk me to the sideline after. And that's a heck of a stat. That is one heck of a stat and says a lot for what they're doing. They're still not an elite team. They're a fun team to watch right now offensively, and they got very fortunate to pull that one out last week with a flag on the re-kick. But they've improved, and I'm happy for Daniel Jones to be, relaxed and having fun, playing good football.
And around a good coach. Shane Steichen's a heck of a play caller, Milt.
Indiana Jones, you know who's hoping that he fails? The New York Giants. Oh my goodness. First, you let Barkley walk. He wins the Super Bowl. Now, imagine if Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones, just leads his team to the playoff and has a resurgence, his career, whatever. Imagine that happening and what the Giants are going to go through.
Milt, and it's another divisional game. By the way, Doug likes Colts over the Titans.
I like Colts.
Cam Ward looks like he's got some promise. There's a long way to go. He doesn't have much around him. The Chargers looked really good on Monday night against the Raiders, and Justin Herbert made the throws he had to make. 242, a couple of touchdowns, no picks. And you like LA over Denver. Why, Milt?
The man you spoke of, Herbert. I think he's a top 5, maybe top 3 quarterback right now. He's really getting it done. Their defense is solid. But if you, and you know this, Flutie, if you have a quarterback who's solid, who's calm and collective, who's found his way, I think Harbaugh, they have a great relationship. So now that team is going in the right direction. I don't know how you beat them if Herbert's on this game. So I like Bo Nix. I think he's a great quarterback, but I don't think he's on the same level as Justin Herbert right now. As long as he's healthy, he's playing well, this team maybe is the top team in the AFC. I know Buffalo is right there, but if I had to pick a team, I would definitely go with the Los Angeles Chargers, top team.
Watching him the Monday night game, he looked great. His mobility was excellent. Ran for some first downs. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100% on that.
Year 2 with Jim Harbaugh, who says he wakes up every morning and thanks the good Lord that Justin Herbert is his quarterback. You're seeing why. You can understand why. We talked about Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence before. Doug, you like in another divisional game, Jacksonville to beat Houston. The Texans went toe-to-toe with Tampa on Monday night. Yeah. CJ Stroud, we're seeing some shades again of what we saw from his rookie year. But you like the Jags on Sunday.
I'm looking for an upset. I'm scouring the darn schedule this week to find an upset. So I think there's motivation there for the Jags to play well. I do like CJ Stroud. I think he's one of the most accurate passers in this group of quarterbacks that came out. But I think it's time for Jacksonville to step up. Plus, it's a team I like to root for anyway. So we're looking at it looking for an upset. I want to have a team that I think when they play well can be good. There's certain teams that just don't have the ability to play at that level. Like they're going to be mediocre. That's all there is. I think Trevor Lawrence has a lot more to offer, and I'm rolling the dice on the Jags this week.
You know who's got the ultimate ability at what they do? Brandon Aubrey. 64-yard field goal at the horn to force overtime. No big deal for the Cowboys kicker. Milt, go ahead, Doug.
I wanted to say about all these long field goals this year and the 70-yarder in preseason and all that. This year's different. The kickers are allowed to have the footballs early. It's no longer brand new football right out of the box that is hard, has the film on it, doesn't carry. They're allowed to break it. They get 60 balls for the season, 3 per game. They're allowed to break them in. So that's where the extra distance is coming from. And it makes a world of difference to these kickers.
So what does it do, Doug? Being able to work with those footballs?
It softens the ball so you can compress it. I kicked in high school. And when I had a range, if you put a brand new ball out, I had a range of about 40 yards. You give me an old ball out of the practice field, I can go 48 yards. It was that big a difference. And I had no leg. So these guys, it makes a big difference to them. If they can break that ball in so that it compresses a little bit easier, and it's not a lot, just a little bit, and it makes a world of difference to these guys.
Milt, just one sec. Okay, I just wanted, for the record, I'm just going to jot this down. September 16th, 2025. Flutie suggesting deflating of football is happening at National Football League for kickers. Milt.
That's good. Just imagine as a defensive coordinator now, how you have to game plan against the Dallas Cowboys when you know you have a kicker who, once they get to the 50-yard line, he can make a field goal. So your game plan as a defensive coordinator changes so much, and so much as an offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, because you know you have a weapon right there. That's amazing how that helps out both teams.
Yep. How about this? End of the game, you're trying a 70-yard, or let's go 65 to 70 yards. Let's say 70-yard field goal, maybe to win the game on the last play, or you're going to overtime, or there's 8 seconds on the clock or 10 seconds. That ball goes wide and through the end zone. The other team lines up on the next play, turns around and kicks a 60-yarder. right? Because of field position. You're already on the other side of midfield. So it's like true. You could just turn it right around and kick on the next play the other way. You better make sure that clock runs out.
We heard about juicing the baseballs for more home runs. Now it's happening with field goal kickers. Milt, Chicago gives up 50 plus.
Yep.
Detroit last week. You still like the Bears to eke by the Cowboys this week?
Yeah, that Dallas Cowboys, their defense is bad. And you see how much Micah Parsons helped out that defense.
Yep.
You see how much he helped out those defensive backs from his pass rush, how he helped out everyone on that defense. They're truly being exposed right now. Russell Wilson had a game like he hadn't had since the Super Bowl when he was with Seattle. That's how bad this Dallas Cowboy defense is. And I think Caleb Williams is going to have that same type of game. You mentioned this last week, Arash, how he uses his legs. I think he'll be more productive with his legs, but I think these Chicago Bears will get their first victory of the year when they face the Dallas Cowboys because of that defense. They're just so
Milt,
bad.
I was thinking along those same lines, Milt. I was looking at that. I was picking that as my upset was the Bears over the Cowboys. And then I looked at it, and the Bears let up 51 against Detroit last week.
I know.
So they're going to be in that same boat. But I was tempted there too. Good pick.
Yeah, and also with that Dallas secondary, Jalen Johnson out indefinitely with a groin, so who knows what's going to happen out there on the boundary. So let's go through them. Our picks for the week: Flutie versus Stegall, powered by BODOG. Milt likes Miami to cover at Buffalo, the Bears to knock off the Cowboys, and in an AFC West divisional matchup, Justin Herbert and the Chargers to beat Denver. Doug likes the Bills. No surprise. He also likes the Colts over the Titans for Daniel Jones and company to be 3-0, and also for the Jaguars to knock off the Texans. Fellas, real quick before we head out, what's one other thing you got your eye on week 3 in the NFL coming up? Milt, let's start with you.
Well, it's not actually on NFL. It's on Doug Flutie.
Oh, good.
Yes. For people who don't know, Doug Flutie is very active. We communicate via WhatsApp, so we know everything Doug do. Doug surf, he plays hockey, he's coming off the golf course. So I'm thinking that, what is that, Nugenics Total T?
There you go, baby.
You need to hook your boy up with some of this Nugenics and just do it for you, Doug. So this is what I'm looking at, how active this young man is at 62 years old. If you guys do the commercial again, I can replace Frank Thomas. I know we're not the same size, but I got the bald head, I'm brown skinned, so I just want to say, look out for your boy with some of that Nugenics Total.
Will do. I'll put the word in. We have fun shooting those ads, by the way. That's a blast. Chiefs got to get off the slate, right? Get up off the turf and get going. And I'm not really worried. They're still the Chiefs. They got the Giants this week. They'll get their first win and get rolling. So I'm not concerned about them as a playoff team. It's not the same team for sure, but Mahomes at quarterback. Don't go into panic mode with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, they're getting Rice and Worthy back later on in the season. We'll see if that KC offense can get it going. Week 3 in the NFL. The picks are up. It's Flutie versus Stegall, powered by BODOG. Like and subscribe on Spotify and YouTube, and we'll see you next week.